Jessica was 32 years old and she had absolutely nothing. Not a single thing that she could call her own. She was a single mother living in a tiny, cramped apartment on the edge of a busy city that never seemed to sleep. Her daughter Emily was 7 years old with big brown eyes and a smile that could light up the darkest room. Emily was the only reason Jessica still got out of bed every single morning. She was the only reason Jessica still had any hope left in her tired, broken heart. Jessica had lost her job 6 months ago. She had worked as a receptionist at a small dental office. It was not a glamorous job. It did not pay well. But it was something. It was enough to keep the lights on and put food on the table. Then the office closed down. The owner retired and sold the building. Jessica was let go with no warning and no severance pay. She had applied for hundreds of jobs since then. She had sent out resumes day after day. She had gone to interviews and smiled and pretended everything was fine. She got rejected every single time. They said she was overqualified. They said she was underqualified. They said they found someone better. They said they would call her back. They never did. Her savings were gone, completely wiped out. She had used everything she had to pay rent and buy groceries and keep Emily in school. Her bank account had exactly $50 left. That was it. $50 for food and rent and everything else. $50 to last her until she found a job. She did not know how long that would be. She did not know if she could survive that long. Jessica would sit at her small kitchen table at night and stare at the wall. She would think about her life and wonder where it all went wrong. She had dreams once. Big dreams. She wanted to be a business owner. She wanted to have her own company. She wanted to give Emily everything she never had as a child. She wanted to buy a house with a garden. She wanted to take Emily on vacations to the beach. She wanted to send her to a good college one day, but life had other plans. Her husband had left her when Emily was just 2 years old. He walked out the door one evening and never came back. He said he needed to find himself. He said he was not ready to be a father. He said he was sorry. Then he disappeared. Jessica raised Emily alone from that day forward. No family, no friends, no support system. Just her and her daughter against the world. Her parents had passed away years ago. Her siblings lived in another country and had their own lives. She had no one to call. No one to ask for help. No one to lean on. She was completely and utterly alone. She would look at Emily sleeping peacefully at night and whisper, "I'm sorry, baby. I'm trying my best. I promise I will give you a better life one day." She would wipe her tears and go back to staring at the bills on the table. The landlord had called twice about the rent. The school had sent a note about Emily needing new shoes and a winter coat. Jessica had no idea how she would pay for any of it. She felt like she was drowning in a sea of problems. She would close her eyes and pray for a miracle. She did not know then that the miracle was already inside her. She just had to find it. She just had to believe in herself. And that was the hardest thing she had ever had to do. One night, Jessica could not sleep. She had been lying in bed for hours, staring at the ceiling and thinking about her problems. She felt like she was suffocating under the weight of her worries. She picked up her phone and started scrolling through YouTube. She was not looking for anything in particular. She just wanted to distract herself from the pain. Then she came across a video about making handmade soaps. It was a simple video. A woman in her kitchen showing how to mix oils and lye and fragrances to create beautiful bars of soap. Jessica watched it and something clicked in her mind. A spark of inspiration ignited in her tired heart. She thought, I can do this. I have nothing to lose. I have $50 and a dream. That is more than I had yesterday. The next morning she woke up before the sun came up. She took Emily to school and then she went to the store. She walked through the aisles with a mission in her eyes. She bought the cheapest materials she could find. Some vegetable oil, some lye that she found in the cleaning section, some fragrance oils that were on sale, some simple soap molds that were discounted. She spent her last $50 on these items. Every single penny. She walked home with her bag of supplies and her heart pounding in her chest. She felt scared, but she also felt excited. She had not felt excited about anything in a very long time. She came back to her small apartment and walked into the garage. The garage was cold and dusty and had not been used in years. There was a broken chair in the corner and an old wooden table that was covered in cobwebs. That was her workshop now. That was where she would build her future. She cleaned the garage for 2 hours. She swept the floor. She wiped down the table. She arranged her supplies. She was ready. She started working. She watched the YouTube video again and followed the instructions step by step. She measured the oils. She mixed the lye with water. She was careful because she knew lye could be dangerous. She wore gloves and protective glasses. She combined everything together and started stirring. She stirred for what felt like forever. The mixture started to thicken. She added her fragrance and poured the mixture into the molds. She covered them with plastic wrap and waited. She waited for 24 hours. It was the longest 24 hours of her life. She could not focus on anything else. She kept going to the garage to check on her soaps. Finally, the time came. She unmolded her first batch of soap. It was not perfect. It was rough and the color was uneven. It had a few cracks on the surface, but it was soap. Real soap that she had made with her own 2 hands. She felt a surge of pride that she had not felt in years. She made another batch. Then another. She kept practicing and improving. She watched more videos and learned new techniques. She learned about different oils and their properties. She learned about essential oils and natural colorants. She learned how to make her soap smell better and look better. She stayed up until 3 in the morning making soap. She woke up at 6 to take Emily to school. She came back and started working again. Her fingers were raw from the chemicals. Her back ached from standing for hours. But she did not stop. She could not stop. She had to succeed. She had to provide for Emily. She was all alone, but she refused to give up. She told herself every single day, one day this will all be worth it. One day Emily will be proud of me. One day I will look back at this cold garage and smile. And she kept going. Jessica took her soaps to the local farmer's market. She woke up at 4 in the morning to pack everything. She loaded her old car with her table and cloth and soaps. She drove to the market and set up her small stall. She arranged her soaps neatly on the table. She had made labels by hand with a marker. They were simple, but they looked honest. She waited for customers to come. Nobody came. People walked past her table without even looking at her. They were too busy buying vegetables and bread and flowers. Jessica sat there for 4 hours and sold absolutely nothing. She smiled at people and said hello. They looked away. She lowered her prices. Nobody cared. She packed everything up at the end of the day and drove home in silence. She went into her apartment and sat on her bed. She started crying. She cried for a long time. She cried for her lost dreams. She cried for the money she had wasted. She cried because she felt like a complete and total failure. She questioned everything she had done. She wondered if she had made a terrible mistake. She looked at her bank account. There was nothing left. She had spent everything. She had no money for food. No money for rent. No money for anything. She felt like the world was closing in on her. She looked at the soaps on her kitchen counter. They were beautiful, but they were useless. Nobody wanted them. Nobody wanted her. She thought about giving up. She thought about going back to job hunting. She thought about accepting defeat. But then she looked at Emily. Her daughter was sitting on the couch doing her homework. She was so small and innocent. She did not know how much her mother was struggling. She just smiled and said, "I love you, Mom." Jessica's heart broke into a million pieces. She made a decision in that moment. She would not give up. She could not give up. She had a daughter who believed in her. She had a dream that was still alive. She would try again. She went back to her garage the next morning. She made more soaps. She made them better. She experimented with new recipes and new scents. She added shea butter and coconut oil. She used natural colorants like turmeric and beetroot powder. She improved the packaging. She wrapped her soaps in brown paper and tied them with twine. They looked professional. They looked beautiful. They looked like something you would see in a high-end boutique. She went back to the farmer's market the next weekend. She was nervous. Her hands were shaking as she set up her table. This time she had a sign. It said handmade soaps, natural, beautiful, affordable. She waited. A woman walked by and stopped. She picked up a soap and smelled it. She smiled and said, "This smells amazing." She bought 2 bars. Jessica almost cried with relief. She made her first sale. It was only $10, but it felt like $1 million. She sold 3 more soaps that day. It was not much, but it was something. It was a start. She felt a small spark of hope ignite in her heart. She kept going. Week after week, she sold a few more each time. People started recognizing her. They started coming back to buy more. They told their friends about her. Word was spreading. Jessica's soaps were getting noticed. She was no longer invisible. She was building something. She was creating something from nothing. And that was the most beautiful feeling in the world. One day, a woman came to Jessica's table at the farmer's market. She was well-dressed and confident. She looked at the soaps and smiled. She picked one up and smelled it. She said, "These are wonderful. I own a small boutique store downtown. I would love to stock these in my shop." Jessica could not believe what she was hearing. She felt like she was dreaming. She asked the woman to repeat herself. The woman laughed and said, "I want to buy your soaps for my store. Can we talk about wholesale prices?" Jessica said yes without hesitation. She could barely contain her excitement. She gave the woman her contact information and promised to send her samples. She went home and started making more soaps. She worked day and night to fulfill the first order. She made batch after batch. Her garage was filled with drying racks and molds and boxes. She could barely move. But she was happy. She was making money. Real money. She paid her rent on time. She bought Emily new shoes and a winter coat. She bought groceries without looking at the prices. She felt like she could finally breathe after months of suffocating. The boutique sold her soaps quickly. They called and placed another order. Then another. Jessica's soaps were becoming popular. People were talking about them. She started getting orders from other stores in the city. She could not keep up with demand. She had to hire help. She hired a neighbor who was also a single mom. They worked together in the garage, packing orders and making soap. The business was growing faster than Jessica had ever imagined. She rented a small warehouse. She bought better equipment. She hired more employees. She was no longer just a struggling single mom. She was a business owner. She was an entrepreneur. She was successful. She would look at her garage and remember the cold nights when she had nothing. She would remember the tears and the pain and the hopelessness. And she would smile. Because she had made it. She had done it all alone. She had turned $50 into a thriving business. She was proud of herself. But the best part was Emily. Emily was proud of her mom. She would tell her friends at school, "My mom makes soaps and she's amazing. She's the best mom in the whole world." That was all Jessica needed to hear. That made every late night and every sore back completely worth it. She had given Emily a better life. She had given her a future. She had proven that a single mom could do anything if she believed in herself. 3 years later, Jessica's business was worth over $2 million. She had a team of 25 employees. She had her own production facility with state-of-the-art equipment. Her products were sold in over 100 stores across the country. She had launched a website and was shipping orders all over the world. She had done it. She had built an empire from absolutely nothing. From a cold, dusty garage and $50. She was a single mom who had fought every single day of her life. She had faced rejection and failure and heartbreak. She had faced sleepless nights and painful setbacks. She had been told she would never succeed. She had been told to give up and find a real job. But she never listened to them. She kept going. She kept believing in herself. She kept dreaming. And that made all the difference in the world. Jessica now speaks at women's conferences and business seminars. She shares her story to inspire other women who are struggling. She tells them, you are never as alone as you think you are. You are never as broken as you feel. You have everything you need inside you. You just have to start. You just have to take that first step. She also teaches other single moms how to start their own businesses. She provides free workshops and mentorship programs. She knows exactly what it feels like to have nothing. She knows what it feels like to be invisible and hopeless and scared. So she lifts others up. She gives them hope. She proves that no matter where you start in life, you can get anywhere with hard work and determination and a little bit of faith. Her story is not just about soap. It is about resilience and strength and courage. It is about a mother who loved her daughter so much that she refused to accept defeat. It is about a woman who refused to let her circumstances define her. She rewrote her own story. She created her own destiny. She is living proof that anything is possible if you never ever give up. Jessica and Emily now live in a beautiful house with a garden. Emily goes to a private school. She has everything she needs and more. Jessica still works hard every day. She still goes to the warehouse and checks on her employees. She still makes soap sometimes because it reminds her of where she came from. She looks at her daughter and smiles. She knows she gave Emily the life she always dreamed of. She gave her a role model. She gave her a mother she could be proud of. And that is the greatest success of all. A mother's love and a mother's strength can move mountains. Jessica proved that to the world. And she will never stop proving it. Her story will inspire generations to come. Because it is not about the money. It is about the journey. It is about the person you become along the way. And Jessica became a woman of strength, grace, and unshakable faith.